Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Home Dad Chat. Tonight is going to be a really fun night. We've got some guests with us. We actually have two guests tonight. So we'll be talking with them about potty training and just all of the fun that comes with that. I'm sure everybody's got their own stories. These guys definitely have stories to tell as well, and that's why we've brought them on tonight. And so we'll get to know them here in just a minute. Danny, how was your day?
It was good. Been long, I'll admit it. It's been a long day, but it was 64 degrees today, so it was all outside and wonderful. And you're welcome. So, how was your day, man?
You're killing me. You're killing me, man. Oh, I woke up to almost 10 inches of snow on the ground today. So I did a lot of shoveling, and it was, it is what it is. But the kids had a snow day, so it was just basically that. It wasn't too bad.
So, did they actually call out school snow day? You mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Full on
nice.
school snow day. We're in person, so they're not doing virtual learning or anything like that. So they got a true snow day. This is their third snow day that they've had. So,
Well, I'll show my ignorance here. I just kind of assumed y'all never, took a snow day because here that's all we do. You drop a popsicle on the ground and we close the schools. So,
oh yeah, well we're Cincinnati. We're not Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Not quite as far.
Where they all drive around in snowmobiles and all that kind of stuff. So we don't have any of that.
Sled dogs.
Yeah, it snows it snows like 3 inches down here, and they shut everything down because it's bad. Actually, it got so bad this morning that I woke up to a semi-truck accident on one of the major highways that comes by the ballparks, and apparently everybody had been sitting there since like 2:00 in the morning. So I put on the TV at like 9:00, and they're like, "Oh yeah, traffic is still stuck," and you could see this like big rig jackknife, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that just sounds just horrific." So yeah, it was an interesting day here in town for a lot of travelers. I'm just like, I'm glad I'm just staying at home. I'd have nowhere to go. Besides us being here, we've got a couple of our friends from the National At-Home Dad Network closed group with us tonight. We've got Don Hudson and Paul Gordon, and we brought them on to talk about potty training, but we also want everybody to get a chance to know them. Anybody who's, of course, in the closed group probably knows these guys a little bit just from interaction, and if you've been to Home Dad Con, you've definitely met Don. So, I mean, come on, it's just synonymous, I think.
He's a living legend.
Yeah.
A living legend.
Barely.
Yeah. But well, I'm going to start with Paul. Paul, tell us a little bit about you and how many kids you got.
I live about north of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, about an hour. So we didn't have any snow today, but we have about 18 inches on the ground.
Oh,
3
wow.
weeks or so. We've had a pretty consistent amount of snow cover. So we probably shoveled about 3 feet already this year. So I can tell you that we're used to it. My kids, I have a 7-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, and they both love helping shoveling. So it's nice.
That helps.
We got them their own little shovels and for Christmas, and they come out and scoop up snow with us now. So it's really nice.
Is that sort of the thing, like when you're birthed into like a farming family? Like it's the same thing when you're in Wisconsin, you're just birthed into like a family. You're like, hey, here's your snow shovel. Get ready.
Merry Christmas. Earn your keep.
Yeah, pretty much. I think this year was the first year they really enjoyed helping, though. I've tried to get them past years, and they just go out and play in the snow. And this year they're actually helping clear it. So it's nice.
All right, Paul. So I got to ask you, I'm a big proponent for getting kids doing chores and things like that, helping around that, because they are big helpers. I think naturally they just want to help. But I have to ask you, is their helping actually helping?
Surprisingly, the 7-year-old, yes. He's getting really good at actually throwing the snow too, so we don't just have the piles right next to the sidewalk and everything else. The youngest he's definitely getting there. It's about 20-25 minutes. He'll actually scoop and try and push and stuff, and then after that he starts like climbing the mountains, and so then he comes back down and you end up shoveling twice. But
it's a learning process. I'm glad to hear that. That's really cool too.
Definitely, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's just kind of like raking leaves. When you're a kid, you rake them into a pile just so you can jump in them. It's not so much you're trying to help out at all. Cool, man. Well, hey, and then we've got Don Hudson as well. Don, tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, what is there to say? Let's see. I've got 4 kids, ages 5, 7, 9, and 29. I started over. That's a whole nother story. And yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Getting them to do chores is actually helpful. They're at the age now that they actually do work, which is extremely helpful around the house. I have my oldest boy. He cleans one bathroom a day and cleans the bathroom. My middle guy does the laundry 1 load a day, which is helpful. And my baby girl goes out and feeds the chickens and collects the eggs.
Nice.
So,
nice.
And they help with picking up their stuff around the house. They keep their bedrooms clean. And I'm kind of militant about it, though. I think like, get your work done. Come on, troops.
That's right.
Report and, line up. And, military background, I found it the best way to work with troops. So if I give them a direct job, I need you to do this. They're like, okay. And they go and do it. It might take them a while, but they get it done. Instead of just saying, hey, I need somebody to blah, 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 then nobody does it.
Yeah, nobody steps up.
They have learned not to volunteer. Like, I need a volunteer. Crickets.
Someone's getting voluntold right now.
Yep, that's it. It's like, you volunteer, I will voluntel.
That's cool. Well, and to Don, I think that you coming in tonight, you've got some background just working with dads with your nonprofit that you have out of is it Portland, right?
Portland, yeah. We got I got Seahorses Inc. Seahorses PDX. It's a nonprofit. Started out here locally as a retail store years ago, and then morphed into a nonprofit because the activities that we were doing at the store was a lot more fun, really, than the actual retail store. So got away from that. Now we still do dad's after hours, and we do Daddy-ator games once a year on Father's Eve, and we celebrate with Father's Eve with John Francis's organization. We team up with the PDX Dads group, City Dads, so that's pretty fun, and it's a good group of guys. And of course, At Home Dad Network. They're a pretty active group here of At Home Dads. So yeah, it's a fantastic network here.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I remember when I first got involved with the National At Home Dad Network, I would see different things from Seahorse coming out, and definitely stuff with the Micah and Me band, and seeing them coming in every once in a while. My kids and I would enjoy watching them. So yeah, that's cool that things are still going.
Kind of, I don't know, put it on the brakes because of COVID, but
right.
It's still going. It's just kind of on life support, limping along. And once COVID restrictions are lifted, then I'm sure we'll be getting more active and in the community and doing other things. We still have tons of ideas thrown around. We just can't do them yet.
Yep, I think everybody's kind of in that place. A lot of different like groups are waiting to do that. So I'm sure that it'll all kick back in here real soon.
Very exciting.
But yeah, tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about potty training. I just kind of wanted you guys to come in and share some stories about that. Specifically, let's see here. We were going to be talking about one of the things, just kind of talking about potty training. There's always seems to be like some struggles. Some things kind of work, some things kind of don't. And it's different per kid, and Don, you've got multiple kids and different age ranges and stuff. So you got some different spread out things there. And Paul, sounds like your kids are just, kind of close in age for the most part. We'll start with Paul. I'm just curious, like what was what was the thing that you struggled with when getting started with potty training?
Me and my wife did the 3-day potty training method. I don't know if anybody's seen that book out there, but basically it's like the hardcore, like day one, throw the diapers away and you're on the kid like a hawk. And every time they start going potty, you pick them up and carry them to the bathroom to get them that feeling of going and then going to the bathroom. And that was like the biggest struggle, is basically staying in one room right next to the bathroom all day. And both my kids, we did at age 2. So they were still in naps, still doing naps. Then you had to figure out how you were going to handle nap time. And if you were still going to do, if we were still going to have sleeping diapers, bedtime diapers. My first one has never worn a diaper since we started potty training him for bedtime or at all. Basically, he's fully potty trained a week after he turned 2. My youngest still is in bedtime diapers, and it's like it was a struggle for like 2 weeks of him waking up completely wet and like not getting that whole idea, and we just put him back in diapers. The biggest struggles were those 3 days of just hawking over the kid, constantly waiting for him to have an accident and constantly reminding him, you have to go potty, tell us you have to go potty. Like, don't forget to tell us you have to go potty. Like, just ingraining that in our minds.
Yeah, that sounds like that would definitely grind you out a little bit and wear on you.
But you knocked it out in 3 days, at least you said for your older, you're what, 7-year-old now?
7-year-old, yeah.
3 days and that's it.
Yep, 3 days. He was completely potty
and no nighttime diapers.
No bedtime diapers, nothing.
Man, I would send you a trophy. That's amazing. To me, that's amazing. I know it's possible, but 3 days, and the book seems to be very, very popular. I think it's the one by Laura Jensen, and it's basically 3-day potty training. It seems like just a real quick, easy method, but it's that constant must be on the potty for 3 days, must be, or not on the potty, but must be thinking about the potty at all times.
Right. Yeah, so. And there's no it's not like the 30-minute or 20-minute method where you wait and then time it out and put them on the potty. It's literally waiting them to start going and then running them to it, and then the constant reminder. So it's like no TV, no distractions other than toys, and you have to be with there playing with them. It's tiring.
Yeah, exhausting.
Anytime I hear stuff like that, man, for whatever reason, I've got flashbacks of Look Who's Talking Too. Have you ever seen that scene where the kid comes into the bathroom and it's got the monster toilet? That's like, give me your pee pee. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, when I was putting this out here as a question to everybody in the closed group, I actually found that like GIF, and I was like, I could put that on there, or I could just put this one of the kids sleeping on the toilet, because you're just like, hey, just sit here.
Fell asleep.
That sounds similar to the method that we used. I don't know what book you guys use, but we used the one called Oh Crap, It's Potty Training Method. I don't remember who the author was.
I like that title.
But it's available on PDF as only format. It's not an actual hard copy book. It sounds very similar, where you just on them like white on rice for 3 days, and then let them go commando for a few weeks afterward.
Is that the style that you used for all of your kids, Don?
All but the oldest. The oldest was 27 years ago, so my memory's kind of hazy on that one. So I'm not going to speak on that experience, because I really honestly don't remember much about it.
Sure.
But the other 3, we used the Oh Crap Potty Training Method, where for the first 3 days they just run around buck naked and you're on them like white on rice. And the way we approached it was that I bought multiple potty chairs that were really easy to move, and we'd move from room to room, but there was always a potty chair right there, so we didn't have to run to the bathroom and just like, there it is. The potty chair was within arm's reach on this side, and the kid was never out of arm's reach on this side. I actually really enjoyed it though, those 3 days, because when else do you get a chance to spend that kind of time and give that much attention to your kids?
That's some pretty invested time for sure.
Yeah, and I got to learn things about them because I was watching their cues. I didn't remind them. I didn't have to remind them, oh, we're going to use the potty. No, you just watch for their cues, and they're like, okay, they're going to sneak over to a corner because that's a natural instinct. Even dogs or cats will do that to try and hide their poop or pee or whatever. And then you like, shunk, ride them onto the potty so that once they get even just a drop or two in there, you praise them like, they won the marathon. And then they get that positive reinforcement, that reward. And then they move over there to it and sit down on it. Even if they don't pee, they're like, look at me, here I am. I want that reward. And not with like cookies or crackers or, sweets or whatever, but just yay, praise, kind of thing. And they responded very well to it. My oldest was 2.5 days before we went to pants. Instead of underpants, we used just regular pants, like sweatpants or whatever, so that they could slip down really easy.
Mm-hmm.
And just go commando, for lack of a better term, with no underwear. Because the book says that the underwear kind of like replaces that sensation of a diaper, that firm pressing up against your skin. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm back in my diaper, I can go here. Well, no, it's underwear. So you just don't do that. And it's a completely new sensation when they have an accident and it runs down their leg. They're like, yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So that reinforces the idea of pushing their pants down and sitting on the potty, and then you praise them again like crazy.
Yeah.
And then when they're doing that consistently, then you make a big deal about getting big boy pants or whatever. And yeah, it worked for all three of my littles. I was fortunate because I'm a stay-at-home parent, so under normal circumstances, I'm not sure just anybody can
Yeah, that definitely helps too. I mean, well,
take that kind of time.
Yeah, well, because I mean, sometimes like if you take your kids and you send them off to like preschool or something, like they make it sort of almost a rule, like they've got to be potty trained or kind of on that train or whatever.
Trained.
Yeah,
we had that problem with my middle, because he was good to go, and this was right when I opened Seahorses, the retail store. So I was like no longer a stay-at-home parent, so I had to pass off this method, this philosophy to the new caretaker. And consistency wasn't there, and he failed miserably. So we had to do what they call a hard reset and do it again about 3 months later when he kept peeing his pants. We're like, yeah, that's not acceptable at preschool. He needs to be either in a diaper or potty trained. So we're like, all right. So I took time off from work. My wife took time off from work. We're like, we've got to fucking do this. And just hammered it out and got him. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Our first one we did when I was working. So we took off a Friday and did it on a weekend. And then he went back to daycare on that Monday. And then it was training the daycare to not put him in a diaper because he didn't need one.
Yeah, that's hard.
Sometimes he would come home with a dry diaper and I'd be like, why does he have a diaper on?
Yeah, where'd this come from?
Like, did you go? Like, we don't have diapers at the daycare. Why does he have a diaper on? And then they'd be like, oh, sorry, he must have been in line to get a diaper on.
Yeah.
He's just following.
An assembly line diaper. Okay, everybody, new diaper, line up.
Yep. That's the way I do it. You got to have like 6, 12 kids. What have you got in there? Yeah. Okay. Y'all line up. We're all getting a diaper. Just one right after the other.
I wouldn't doubt it. That's probably, I mean, if you've got to keep track of them all like that, why not just line them up and knock them out like a conveyor belt for sure.
And I found it interesting also that there's the common myth that little boys are harder to potty train than little girls.
Mm-hmm.
I found that to be completely wrong.
I agree. Yeah.
My little girl was really interested in what was going on down there when she'd sit on the potty, and she'd like bend over and look and shoot out that way and miss the toilet entirely. Whereas my little dudes, I could say, tuck your dude, aim that thing, tuck your dude, so they wouldn't shoot out. Aim and tuck your dude. Well, she doesn't have anything to tuck.
Yeah.
That was a bit difficult. So you can't watch. Try telling a 2-year-old she can't do something.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Well, so with your boys, I mean, were you having them sit down to pee basically? Like, cause I know with mine, okay. Cause with mine, like it was the exact opposite. Like he didn't do well sitting down, but if I stood him in front of the toilet, like we had like a stool or whatever, he would aim that way and everything was fine. It was like, anytime we set him down, it was like whoosh, up in the air. Like, no.
To teach him to pee standing up, we did that outside at on a tree.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I did with my boys. I just went out and showed them by example. I don't even know if I intended it the first time, but after that, they're like, can I pee on a tree? That would be amazing. Can I pee on a tree? I mean, we'll stop. We've got a fairly long driveway and we'll come in and they'll have to go really badly. Like, Dad, stop. And they will jump out and just run to the first tree. It doesn't matter if you can see the road can see you. Doesn't matter. Drop pants and go, I got to pee on a tree. It's the greatest thing. So Yeah, I get that. It seemed to help a lot.
Challenge with that at 3.5-year-old T-ball.
Oh,
And all the kids would be running around out in the outfield. My son, my oldest, would drop trow and just pee right in the middle of the outfield.
That's picture worthy. That's
perfect. Awesome.
That's perfect.
So we didn't do that with my second one.
Yeah.
Well, so kind of speaking to like teaching them outside or whatever. So I was out hiking with my kids and we were potty training my daughter at the time, and we were on a trail. Like we had gone to the bathroom before we left. Everything was good. I was like, oh, no problem. But of course, we're hiking and drinking water the entire time. And at one point she turns around to me. She's like, I got to go potty. And I'm like, oh, this is a new level of parenting right here. What are we going to do in this situation? Luckily, there was like a log that was down. And I'm like, all right, pull your pants down, like kind of lean her back over the log. Like, I'm going to hold you while you pee. And she's like looking at me like, are you serious? I'm like, just trust me. You're okay.
Trust daddy.
Man,
I got
that
you.
was a story.
I've done this 100 times. I swear.
But that was a story to come back and tell the wife.
There's a product on the market called the Potette. I used to carry it in a store, and it was crucial for on-the-go potty because it was collapsible. I mean, it was only yay big, folded up, so it'd slide in my diaper bag. I still keep one behind the seat of the truck, just in case we're out and about and little girl needs to pee. I could just right there on the ground. Here you go.
I might have to get one of those for my road trip coming up this summer. The family.
It's a worthwhile investment. It's the best $15 I think I've ever spent.
I'll have to definitely look into that because I'm looking at doing a 5,000-mile road trip this summer with the family. So we'll kind of need that. Yeah.
Yeah. Even my don't tell my wife I said this, but even she's used it. So.
It's all good, man.
No judgment here for sure. I definitely won't tell her I've ever heard anything about that guy. That's for sure. I'm not getting in that fight, but I would absolutely, and I'm sure my wife would too. I mean, if we were on a trip that we're really committed,
hey, if you gotta go, you gotta go, and it's better than stop, drop, and squat. At least you got something to like kind of sit on.
Yeah.
Our outdoor potty story for the travel pee we did the Briggs and Al's 10K one year. It's the big children's hospital thing they do every year, moneymaker. And we were it was 3.5, I think at the time, my youngest, and he had to pee. So we had the travel like Paw Patrol fire truck thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, like this big. And we had it in the bottom of the stroller. So side of the road, there's like 10,000 people in this race, side of the road. He just is peeing in the middle of. So he didn't care. We were like, whatever.
I'm sure some runner a while back probably was doing something similar.
Yeah. There's adults running by going, oh, now I really have to pee.
No, I gotta go. Damn it.
Oh, I used to be a pretty avid cyclist, and I could remember watching a guy actually as I was going by him, and he was literally on the bike still, like coasting down and like peeing off the side of his bike. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like the balance you have, sir, is amazing. All right, I'm gonna keep going now.
Like, well done. Gotta roll.
Yeah, exactly. Don't need to see that. No, but so kind of to keep things back on track here a little bit. So what is something that you wish you'd have known before you had started potty training? Like, is there something that kind of came to mind that where you're like, oh man, like this would have been great to have known? Is there anything that came out for that for you guys?
For me, it was the fear of pooping that the kids have. So for my second one, we were aware it was going to happen. So because it was so bad with our first one, but it was literally like just that whole, like, it's like you've been pooping in a diaper for 2 years already. Like, why is this such a big deal? You have no clue that all of a sudden they're going to be on the potty and pooping, and then they freak out. Like my first one, like literally the first time he did it, he like started bawling, like, and he had like no clue what was going on. It's like, you don't get that. And then like not for us, it's like, it's so natural. You're like, why is that affecting you? But I think it goes over it in the 3-day book, or maybe a little bit, or my wife looked up online or something. She's like, to them, they're like losing a part of them and they don't understand it. So it's like, we didn't expect it to be so bad. Like in our second one, we were expecting it, but he was not reacting at all to any bribes to get him to do it and be like okay with it. And it was like 2 weeks, and he was like, we thought he was like stuff, like he was pooping his pants or he wasn't pooping. Like it was like a big deal. The only reward he reacted to was being able to call a family member to tell him that he pooped.
Nice.
So, oh, you get to call Auntie Lori and tell her that you pooped, or you get to call Uncle Mark and then so that was his reward for pooping. And then I finally got him over that hump.
That sounds like a great family
Very
text.
cool.
Hey, just by the way, you're probably going to get a pooping phone call at some point.
Get ready.
I didn't realize they'd be scared of the flush. That was one of my, my oldest. He didn't mind pooping. He's like in the little potty chair, but he did not want that to flush. He could jump it in the big toilet, but he was not going to be in that room when you pull that lever. It's just too much noise, or he didn't know where the poop went, or I'm not sure what was going on in his little 2-year-old brain. But he wanted absolutely nothing to do with the flush.
Yeah.
And once we finally, like you said, rewarded him, then talking about how big my in-laws had come to visit, and everybody made a big deal about, look, I'm flushing, and peer pressure. He wanted to be a flush guy too. So
Yeah.
Everybody flushed.
So is there anything that you wish you'd have known, Don?
I wish I'd have known how cool it was.
That's an interesting statement. Elaborate on that.
Well, again, I'm going to get all philosophical on you. But to watch this transition from baby to little kid, I mean, that's kind of a rite of passage, doing that, the potty training thing. And it's the first one caught me off guard, but as the second and third, I was like, this is a rite of passage that I want to be a part of. And
yes,
and I love watching the transition, watching the change, watching the light up, when they get that aha moment of how it works. It's so incredibly rewarding. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't prepared for that. And I wish somebody had been like, hey, this is actually not all that bad. It's not as scary as you think it may be if you approach it with the right mindset. And so after that, I was like, second, third, this is great. I'm all over it.
Yes,
that's really cool.
Yes.
I haven't looked at it like that.
I have to say, I'm really, really glad that you said that, because I have looked at it like that. It's one of those stages, but I mean, just because this is the kind of person I am, I guess, when it came down to time with the kids as infants, my wife did all the feeding. So I did all the diaper change. That was all me. And my wife could do it if she wanted to, but I said, no, I've got them every single time from birth until all the time, because that was the time that I got to spend with them, even though it's kind of gross, but it's that moment of, no, this is you and daddy right here, that one-on-one, that skin to skin contact, that, the voice you're using or whatever. And when potty training, it was that same moment. And honestly, I felt like you said, it's a rite of passage. I didn't ever phrase it that way, but I thought of it like, I'm going to get you through this next stage. I'm going to help you become a new person, almost, someone that's using the potty instead of pooping in their pants all the time. And I love that you said that. I really do. I think that's just a beautiful way of looking at it.
I think if more people looked at it that way, it wouldn't be so intimidating and scary,
Yeah.
If they would realize that it's not going to happen again. This is the only time that you're ever going to have this opportunity with this kid. Don't blow it, don't wish that time away, especially doing the 3-day method, like Paul and I did. You were all over that kid. You're like, right there, you're seeing him. And when do you get to do that again? When do you ever get to spend that much time with your kid and see what they're doing and see what they're all about and see what they're interested in? Don't waste an opportunity.
I think that falls in line too, with just like the question of like best tips or whatever. I feel like you kind of gave a really good like best tip right there, in the fashion of like, hey, like don't let this like moment pass you by, as far as like seeing it as like there's more positive to negative of what's going on there. So that's cool, man. Paul, do you have any tricks that worked for you besides what we had just already talked about with your kids?
I guess the biggest thing I had is like, don't get upset when they don't make it to the potty. Like, that's
good advice. Yeah.
Make a game of it.
That's like the biggest tip, because I know people get mad. Like my neighbor who's got a kid that's a day older than my second, and they're really good friends. They hang out all the time. They're in our COVID bubble, so they can play it all the time. And when they were potty training, they get so mad at him when he make an accident. I'd be like, just that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like I just say, like, they're gonna have an accident. That's the point.
Right.
Like,
This is a training thing that they're teaching.
right.
Negative reinforcement doesn't work so well.
I like the idea though of like you were talking about like the big boy pants, big girl pants type of thing. I know for our kids, like we made a big deal about that. Like, hey, we're gonna go to the store and you're gonna get to pick out your own underwear that you want to wear and that kind of thing. And whatever you want to pick kind of deal. And it's interesting because like, it all depends on like what they're involved in. So like my oldest, like I think he started out with like Star Wars, maybe some like Paw Patrol and just different stuff like that, like Spider-Man, like all those things. My daughter was like My Little Pony and then Frozen. But one of the things that was interesting with one of my family members was my niece. Actually, she wears boys underwear. Like she really, really liked like Spider-Man. And they don't make Spider-Man in girls underwear. And so she was just like, I want these. And her mom was like, they're boys. And like I was explaining to her, she's like, no, I don't care. Like I want these. And eventually my sister-in-law was just like, fine, like, hey, this is what you want to wear. This is what you want to wear. And I think that that's something too, to just kind of put out there and let people realize is like, hey, like their underwear, like who cares? Like, honestly, like don't make a big deal about it.
At that age.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Girls and boys underwear at that age cut differently.
It is. There is a little bit of different in cut. Yeah, there is
Yeah.
a difference in cut in a way, just because of how they're made. I mean, think about like guys' underwear that's like the whitey tighties type of style, like with the way it is, and then
Got
girls.
the fly in the front.
Yeah, and then girls is a little bit more like frilly and different, just a different feeling to it. Doesn't have that fly in the front type of deal, but yeah, I mean, but I think it all like cuts and wears the same. Honestly, you're putting two legs in there. It's going up around your waist.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Don said, at that age, there's really no.
And even the fly is just aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's
You're not
a
using it
design.
at that
Yeah, right. No kidding.
We had a problem with my oldest trying to find skivvies that were the right size because he's a pretty petite fella. And at 2 years old, they just didn't make them that small. I mean, we did the tighty whities and size 2 for 2-year-olds, and they were still falling off of him because they were so big on him.
Oh,
He was just a little bitty guy and about that big around. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have much of a choice. We found the ones that fit. Made a big deal of, look, these are yours.
Ta-da.
Awesome. No, man, it's good to get to talk to you guys about this, and I think you guys brought some really cool insight into just potty training. Hopefully folks that are listening, get some information that helps them to sort of like maybe not feel so overwhelmed in the process. Like that's kind of the one thing that I really wanted to see come out of this conversation was that anybody that listens to this, like, see that, you don't have to get angry. You don't have to be like all full of anxiety. Like kids are going to figure it out, and it's just being there and supporting them as they walk through it. And like you were saying, Don, like it's a rite of passage. So it's kind of enjoy that part of it. Don't let that part pass you by.
It really is a once in a lifetime thing. You only potty train once,
Right.
hopefully, in your life. Wait, there's always an exception. If you're drunk or whatever.
Yeah, there's always an exception. Things.
Hypothetically.
It's all good. Cool. Well, gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on tonight and talking with us about this. Really hope that we get more guys that come on and do some of these different topics with us. Danny and I have got a bunch of different ones pulled out for future episodes to go through. But thanks for joining us tonight. And anybody that's listening, please feel free to reach out, leave us messages, let us know what things you're struggling with, what you've gone through with potty training, and just your successes and maybe your failures of it. Like to hear about them. We'll air them on the show if you send them to us. So, but hey, thanks. Y'all have a good day.
Cool.
Good night.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.